Good morning. It's Ayla Melendez, aka Real Estate, and I'm your host of the Chronicles REI edition. This is episode 1, and we have the pleasure of starting with Charles Hernandez. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. How are you feeling today?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be number 1.
Yeah, you're setting the tone with the show. So let's get into it. This is a personal question. Who are you outside of real estate?
Wow. Outside of real estate, to be honest, I'm a real private guy.
Okay.
A lot of people think that I'm just out there because they see me on social media, but for me, social media is one thing, and then my private life's another thing. So I'm real private.
No, I completely respect that. You have your own personal identity. We respect it because we all know Uncle Charles, the real estate godfather. We love you, so I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
How have your business core values impacted your personal life?
Core values, I guess it comes from the way I grew up. I'm a product of my environment. Mm-hmm. I experienced a lot of ugliness, mm-hmm. but I took the good parts of that world and brought it to, into the business world and combined mm-hmm. it with what I learned about business. Mm-hmm. And, I do what I say. Mm-hmm. I don't cheat people. And I go out of my way to really try to help folks and get things accomplished. So mm-hmm. My main thing is keep my word. It's very hard to break that. Mm-hmm. Don't screw people over, and try to run the most ethical, with a lot of integrity business that I can.
I love that. And those are great things to live by as well as doing business with.
Well, it's easy to get off course because in this business, the real estate business, real estate investing, it's very easy to do the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. It's the things that you do in the dark that count. Mm-hmm. And so if you can do the right thing when it counts, then you don't have to worry about it later.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I appreciate that. Integrity is everything. It really is.
I try.
Having a great reputation will always take you far.
I try. I do my best to always do the right thing.
That's great. Has there been any mistake that you've made in the past that turned into a lesson that you got to implement in your real estate business?
Many. Being minorities, mm-hmm. Like I said, I was a product of my environment, mm-hmm. and I made many mistakes in the past that cost me time. Mm-hmm. It cost me a lot of heartache, a lot of financial loss. And today I do my best to learn from those examples, from those experiences. Mm-hmm. It's like I said, going back to core values, it's easy to do the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. It's what you do in the dark that will determine if you're able to continue moving mm-hmm. forward, when everybody's watching.
I agree. Now, what actually got you inspired or interested for you to take a leap into real estate?
So when I was young, I always knew I was going to do something, mm-hmm. and whatever I've ever done, whether it was bad or good, I've always been good at it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always like, hey, it's like Lil Wayne says, if you're going to be good at it, right?
Right.
But I knew I was gonna I wanted to do like public relations or, I just got led down the wrong path. And when I finally got steady with my mind and steady with my course, it took a long time. It took a long time to get it. It looked so far. Mm-hmm. Like I went. A lot of people today they say, well, don't go to school because it's a waste of time. I went to school, and I got a degree from the University of Texas in business and finance. But it was such a long journey. But I finally got there. And when I got there, I was in the mortgage business and I was learning and I was like, man, I don't know none of this stuff. Mm-hmm. But I knew one thing, that every day led to more knowledge, led to more. And I just took it like that. I've always been that way. Mm-hmm. And by the time I knew it, I was doing a lot of real estate, a lot of mortgage loans and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was involved with a lot of real estate people. And so when the market crashed, which destroyed me, I thought I had made it and destroyed me. Mm-hmm. I still had all these real estate connections, and I was facilitating private money. And I was like, you know what? I'm telling people how to do deals. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should just do it myself. Mm-hmm. And I started a real estate company, and that's how I got started. I just decided to I realized that I knew a lot of people in the business, and I said, you know what, I'm going to use this to my advantage. I'm going to use these contacts, and it turned into HPHS.
Wow. And how long have you guys been going strong?
Well, my partner, Michael, I started HPHS in 2012, and shortly thereafter, like very shortly thereafter, Michael came into our lives because he actually started dating my stepdaughter. We became friends, and we launched HPHS. So we've been going strong since 2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you just celebrated your 10-year anniversary. Congratulations.
It's sometimes I'm just like, damn. But he's a good partner. He recently just opened up a real nice restaurant here in town.
Nice.
And we get into a lot of stuff. We started in real estate, traditional real estate. We jumped to flipping, portfolioing immediately, wholesaling, sub-twos. We do a lot of creative stuff. A lot of people know we do education and stuff. So we've been around for a long time.
Yes. You guys are really big on education. I know you also have the monthly RIA that you host, which is coming back as well.
We do. We're gonna try to run it a little bit different this year. We're gonna try to do it more of an interactive type of event, but we do run the HomeBuying HomeSelling Association here in San Antonio. But we also run private groups. So with the education, it's not only giving back to the community. A lot of people don't realize you don't make a lot of money. You don't hardly make any money from running an association. What the association is for people to come network and do deals together. And that's the benefit of being part of an association. Now, with our educational stuff, it's more of a private thing. People seek us out and we teach them what we do.
I love that. You're always giving back. And how has the educational purposes been rewarding toward you in return?
I mean, it's good. I mean, the thing is that, you and I have been in business for a long time. And a lot of people come into this business.
Yes.
And right out the gate, they learn something, they want to start teaching it. And I don't have a problem with that. I just kind of look at that and I'm just like, man, you really don't have a lot of experience, to teach you someone something that could change their life.
I agree.
In the wrong direction. But over the years, I think I've built up a lot of credibility and a stock of work where I can actually be like, hey, I feel confident saying like, I know this stuff, I teach this stuff, and without feeling weird about it. So we're actually launching a very large platform that's going to be coming out pretty soon. So it's going to be great. It's going to be all creative financing, sub-twos, just stuff that people want to know about, that just have a hard time understanding.
I agree. You are very huge on creative financing.
Yeah.
What's the most creative deal that you've structured? Or one of them, because I know you've done many.
Well, let me tell you the background behind this. When we first started, I had lost all my money. And because I lost all my money, I had no money. When I started HPHS, which was initially called HomeBuying HomeSelling Realty, I only had $700 in my pocket. I went from having $3.2 million to $700, and that's a whole other story.
Wow.
And I had to gamble like, hey, what do I do here? So I spent $500 on an LLC. So in January of 2012, I had $200 in my pocket.
Wow.
By the end of the month, I had $35,000 as real estate. But it was just being creative and not only creative in creating deals, but being creative in finding deals. So I'll give you an example. One of a really good creative deal that we did, and I talk about this one a lot because it was probably our best one, was capturing an LLC. And we do that a lot. So we find people who have inactive LLCs that have properties in the LLCs. And because they're getting foreclosed and they're inactive, they cannot contract. And if they cannot contract, they cannot sell. So what do? You buy the LLC. And then you got to get it reinstated with the comptroller, with the SOS. And since you already own the LLC, there's no seasoning on chain of title. It's crazy.
Man, that was a gem he just gave us. Not many people know that.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff you get into. Yeah.
Has there been ever a time that a homeowner or a seller has come to you and created something extremely like creative financing?
Most homeowners are just regular Joes, they don't know stuff. I've had a lot of individuals that come back to us. So we create a lot of notes. I'll tell you a story. We had a guy out of Cambodia, and he moved here he had $150,000 from his family's money that they raised in Cambodia. Think about that.
Wow. And
he came here to the States, and somebody convinced him to open up some donut shops. And I was like, brother, are you serious? I mean, there's Chipley's Donuts, there's Krispy Kremes,
Duck Donuts,
there's Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, I don't know if you're going to make it, man. And he spent his money doing that. but he also bought a house from us, and he had put $30,000 down. Within a year, he was a clothing shop, and he came to us, and he was out of money, man. He was out of money. So it was a really cool deal. It was a subject to wrap. So what we did is we took a property subject to, we wrapped it to him, and then he gave us $30,000, but 10,000 of that was in payments. So we did a silent second on the second. So we still got our 30, but the 10 on the side and 20 up front. And I mean, I could talk about all kind of creative deals, but I want to talk about people. And what we did with him, he was in my office. He had nothing, man. He just wanted to go back to Cambodia. I said, brother, I'll give you $10,000, man. I don't want to foreclose on you. I'll give you $10,000, and you deed the property back to us, and work square. So those are the stories I like to tell, because most people would have just foreclosed on them.
Yep.
And so that's you want to know who Charles is? That's me. That's the stories that I never tell from the stage, or I never tell it to Rhea, or I never tell on podcasts. This is the first time I ever told a story.
Oh, well, I'm glad that we could have you and you shared it with us first.
It's the first podcast you're doing, so I thought I'd share something like that. You got to do the right thing sometimes.
We appreciate. I accept that, because it's one thing with being nice, but kind is more of who you are. Nice is more of just like, oh, friend, I'm just being nice to you, but that's honestly an act of kindness. You give them a second opportunity.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I think a lot of people take that for, a lot of times people take advantage of that too. So like, for example, I'm big on social media. Yesterday I posted, hey, I'll be the nice guy if you want me to, but I'll also be the bad guy if you want me. I have no problem being both. And a lot of my friends reach out to me, what happened? I'm like, nothing happened. It's just sometimes you gotta send a message to people,
Yeah, I agree. And everyone gets the me they deserve.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really cool. I try to help out as much. I try to help out a lot of people. Here in San Antonio, I have trained a lot of people how to do real estate, or a lot of different functions of real estate. Some of those people, I stay friends with them for a long time. Some of those people do bad stuff, and the ones who do really bad stuff, I'm like, hey man, we can't ever work together, but I don't hate you. Yeah. And then you got the folks that you really pour a lot into, but I can't be mad at them when they decide to do their own thing. I mean, I'm actually in awe of them, and it humbles me, like, wow, that guy's really doing well, and I had something to do with that. So my thing is, I'm willing to help folks, but I'm the type of guy that if you ain't willing to put in the work, don't waste my time, man.
I agree.
If you I'm like in my office, I got a lot of good dudes, but I'm always okay with whoever wants to do their thing. I'm never gonna hold anybody back. So I don't know. I'm willing to help all the time, but you got to bring it.
Yeah, I agree, because everyone thinks that knowledge is powerful, and really it's applied knowledge. And as an educator, I'm sure the biggest reward to you is whenever you teach someone something and see them go out and do it. I
got some really good dudes, right? A few women that I've taught that do really well. I'm proud of them. I don't talk to them all the time, but I'm really proud of them, because I watch them. I'm like, wow, I remember when I met them, they know. Yeah. They know shit,
They're like, what is real estate?
but but I don't get resentful, because my motto is work with me, not for me.
Yes.
If I say that, then I should believe it. No matter what happens, that comes with two things. It comes with me sharing information with you, data, systems, knowledge. All I ask you is to bring your spirit, your determination, and your ethics, right? Whatever you want to call it. I ask you just to bring that stuff, and together we make money. At some point, some people, they want to stay. I have some people that have been with me for a long time, and I have some that want to go. But here's the thing. You can't hate on those folks, because they're a reflection of you. I love everybody. I love you until I don't love you. You know what I'm saying?
That's a perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
And then it's like when people start with you and then they branch off and do their own thing, it's like you were the first part of their legacy. You're helping them build their story.
Yeah, they can't ever. Yeah, I'm proud of everybody that I've ever showed this business to.
Well, whenever it comes to success, what's your definition of success?
It's different for everybody. I think that like for me, I lost a lot of time. I disclosed that at my event, Wholesaling Live. For the first time, I talked about my past, because people just know what they see. And I lost a lot of time, so I always feel like I'm I'm older than a lot of people in the business, but I always feel like I'm running behind. So I'm always going. I'm always on tilt all the time. As soon as I get up, I'm doing real estate, or whatever is facet of whatever I do, from education, talking to people, whatever. I go home, I eat with my wife, and then I'm online researching stuff. The thing is, for me, I feel like I lost a lot of time, so I'm always catching up. And I think the definition for success is if I was to die today, and in 2020, I had COVID, I almost did die.
Yes.
Did I do enough? Did I give it all? Did I leave it on the table? And I was ready to go in 2020, to be honest with you. I was in the hospital 2 months, but a part of me was like, man, I got to do more. I have this saying that I say to people sometimes: I owe life, and I believe that I owe life. And there's a reason why I say that. And so I'm not ready to go, but when I do go, I know in my heart that maybe I don't become a Grant Cardone type of multimillionaire. I have a lot of properties. I can sell everything right now and pull out, several millions of dollars. So I feel like, I've reached that goal. And if I get further, great. But if I don't, I know one thing, that I left me on the table. I left everything I could on the table. And it's different for everybody. A lot of people judge success by Rolex. They judge success by having a Lambo. Mike has a Lambo. They judge success by buying, huge multifamily. It's different for everybody. It's just whatever you're good at, whatever you want to do, you should give it your all. And if you give it your all, then in the end, you'll be satisfied that you did enough.
So do you think that situation in the hospital kind of changed your entire mindset to where you were like, I was going hard, but this right here, I'm not done yet? The mindset got you.
I've had, we all go through in life. Everybody has different events. I've had life-changing events or experiences in my life that are like, damn, I can't believe you did that. I've been through some really hard things in my life that cost me time, if you know what I mean. Time. And that was a crazy event. I mean, that was a crazy period of my life, I lost all my money in 2008 being a street guy, and then you go through that and you change your whole mindset, change your whole life. You jump from that world to this world, and you think you made it and you lose everything. You're like, what the fuck? Excuse me. And then then you go through the COVID thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad I'm here, but I just keep pushing. I know that in the end, success for me would be like, how many people's lives did I change? How many people did I tell to fuck off? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And
hopefully that list is shorter.
And did I do enough? To leave some type of legacy to those who count? That's my definition of success.
I love that. Are there any books that kind of hit home with you or changed your mindset to where no matter how many times you've read it, it's something that you'll always go back to? You always pick up new things.
People, they read all kind of books. They talk about traction. They talk about, Napoleon Hill. They talk about all type of books, and I get it, man. I mean, I get it. Everybody wants to talk about how many books they read and shit. I read enough books while I was going and getting my degree. Now, there's one book that I really like that kind of changed my mindset when I was young, and that book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I read that book and it was like, this is some real stuff. I mean, I knew it was real stuff. I'm a history buff. I read a lot of history. I think that's probably the biggest book. Most people probably come here and say the Bible, but I'm just being straight up. That's probably my favorite book. My second favorite book, it wasn't a book about business. It was ironically a book about semi-fictional in real life. It's called Carlito Way.
Oh, I know that's a movie too, right?
Yeah, it is.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway from that book?
Well, the entry of that book is everyone has a story to tell. You got this, you got that, you got this, you got all these folks. This is mine. And I always remember that. And the second part of that is is, anything you want to do, you have to understand something. Either you're going to put the time in and get the experience, or you're going to work with somebody who has the experience. Because whatever you're trying to do, you can't learn it overnight, and you can't read it in a book in most cases.
Yeah.
So you can't learn how to be ethical in a book. Either you are or you're not.
You either got it or you don't.
You either got it or you don't. You can't learn how to keep your word. Either you had those experiences or you're not. Either you got to be around somebody who's going to mold you into that, or you have to have lived that. And so I love that book because it actually helped me in the journey that I keep mentioning in the past. It woke me up, and I said, you know what, this ain't the end. I got more to do. Yeah. And that was eye opening for me. A lot of that was in that book. I related to a lot of that in the book. It was pretty cool.
It just hit home.
I knew that I could do more.
I love that. What do you think is one of the most common challenges in our real estate industry these days within wholesaling and the investment side?
The thing with this business. So I've been in this business since 2003, and I've seen people come, I see people go, I've seen companies rise to the pinnacle, come down. I've seen cocky people come and go. Like, oh man, and I'm still here, right? And I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, because somebody told me one time, well, you're still here, you should have been doing something else. I don't know, man. I'm doing my thing, right? I don't.
Yeah.
But here's my thing about this. I think in the last 10 years, or last 7 really, the real estate non-traditional industry really morphed into a more organized type of business. Because before that, it was your one-man shows or two-man shows or professional companies that were buying properties like your REITs and stuff. But now you see a lot of folks who have woken up and be like, oh man, I know I can buy properties. I have no money. I can create paper. There's a lot of stuff that can be done, and people didn't realize that. People today talk about innovation, sub 2. They talk about wholesaling, creative financing. They don't realize this stuff was being done 100 years ago. We just didn't know. Yeah. Like, and I'm gonna get real with you here, because I talked about this before. And I talked, and I did TikTok, and I went off, man. I was going off, and I was training. And all these folks back in the day, they would do these late night shows about real estate and how to buy properties on money. That's what they were talking about. We just didn't know, because we weren't that information was being shared with us, especially I hate to say this, but especially with minorities. We didn't know. But now we know. You can fucking wholesale properties for $10. You can subject to a property for $0. You can novate a property. You can create paper, doing creative financing. That's what they were talking about. And so now that we know, because of YouTube and Facebook and TikTok, and everybody's like, what the fuck? You can actually change your life if you just give yourself a chance to learn. I mean, even if you just learn something so simple as wholesaling, you could change your life. You can go from working at a restaurant to making thousands of dollars every single month. It's not easy, but I mean, it's there, and it's there for anybody who wants it.
Yeah, it's not easy, but nothing in life is. So you got to choose your hard.
Here's as simple as it can get. At its most simplest form, that's as simple as it gets. You find somebody who's losing a property, and if you understand how to find that list, which is very easy, you go knock on someone's door and say, hey, I understand you're losing your property, and I'd like to help. Now, if you can get there and they say yes, which somebody will, and you don't know nothing else, you guys can call. You can call you. You can call me. We're going to make some money together.
Right.
And that's how simple it gets. You go from making, what's the minimum wage right now?
$7.25.
$7.25 an hour, 40 hours a week, to making $10,000 a month. It's that simple. And people don't realize how simple it is.
Do you think seeing minorities doing it on the internet inspires more people?
I'm going to tell you something. And look, I always say to people when I teach, I say, look, I'm going to say some stuff that might hurt y'all's feelings. So don't get butthurt, because I ain't got time. I ain't got time for that shit. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for feelings, man.
Yeah.
I only got time for facts.
There we go.
And here's the thing, you know, we all understand society.
Mm-hmm.
No one has to tell us what the hell. Look, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
We are who we are, and we're in this generation, and whatever it is. Here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you can acknowledge that and make yourself self-aware of that,
mm-hmm.
then and put that shit to the side,
mm-hmm.
then you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and when it comes to minorities, I think it was in 2019 that I went to an event,
mm-hmm.
and it was the first event that I ever saw. It was primarily minorities. I was like,
oh, wow.
what the fuck is going on here?
What event?
Because before I would go, and it would just be like, you know, a few African American folks, a
uh-huh.
few Hispanic folks.
Mm-hmm.
Not many. This event was like all minorities. So I was like, what the hell's going on? It was I never believed in all that stuff, you know, because of all the bad gurus and stuff back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I never would go to events because, you know, I'm not going to mention their names, but there was a lot of bad gurus back in the day just hustling people. And I'm not saying they were all bad. I'm just saying that, you know, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I went to an event. It was Max Maxwell's event.
Okay.
I think it's called We Live,
mm-hmm.
and it was in Dallas. And I walked in, I was like, where all these people
right?
come from?
We all look alike.
Like, goddamn, you know, and it was like, it freaked me out, and it inspired me. Mm-hmm. You know, I was like, damn, you know, this is beautiful, man. You know, not that going to other events,
of course,
where there's less minorities
mm-hmm.
isn't beautiful, because we all got to work together. At the end of the day, there's only really one color, and that's green. Right? I mean, if you can't get past that, then you ain't gonna make the money.
I agree. But
that was the first event where I went. I was like, damn,
we can do this. Like, we can really do this.
What's going on? You know what I'm saying? And I see that now a lot more. You know, I see,
mm-hmm.
and it's inspiring to see a lot of minorities, you know, from all walks of life, you know, just hustling and
mm-hmm.
learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see, and you see the people who have, you know, or you know, who have been making money or whatever, you know, and those are all my white brothers, you know, the people that and look, let's face it, we all have problems. That's not what
mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to say anything about, you know, what colors we are or anything. What I'm trying to say is minorities have usually had it a little worse, you know, when it comes to business.
Mm-hmm.
But to see both sides working together now,
mm-hmm.
to see both sides just putting color aside, and doing deals. Look, I've seen dudes that look like thugs, like that. I know that you shot somebody yesterday. Like sit down talking to doctors, and attorneys.
Yeah,
I've seen people who are in law enforcement, like district attorneys and stuff,
mm-hmm.
sit down and talk to dudes that are like, no, but it's just business.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna tell you something that really humbled me. I have a student right now. I love him. Mm-hmm. He's Caucasian, mm-hmm. and he's in law enforcement mm-hmm. in Kentucky. And the thing about it is that he took my mentorship, mm-hmm. and after hearing where I come from, like I told my story at Wholesaling Live, you know, because Wholesaling Live that we did was actually the largest wholesaling event ever done.
I remember that was September last year. Yeah.
And he took my
your testimony.
No, he took my mentorship.
Oh, okay.
And it humbled me because he's an officer of the law.
Oh, wow.
For 20 years.
Wow.
And I pulled him to the side and I said, man, do you know how humbled I am? Mm-hmm. I mean, let's just put it on the table. I'm Hispanic, you're Caucasian. Mm-hmm. I was on the wrong side of the law, and I disclosed that. Mm-hmm. And you're law enforcement mm-hmm. for as much time. And for you to take my mentorship, brother, like, it humbles me. I'm gonna give you everything I got, man. I'm gonna give you everything I got, and that right there, it's just like, okay, I get it, man. Mm-hmm. I get it, mm-hmm. because that right there, that don't go together most of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when I think when you can do that, at least for me, it's very humbling. But at least for me, it just inspires me to keep going. You know, mm-hmm. when you touch people, you know.
Of course, I love that.
I hope I'm not talking a lot. I'm just.
No,
I'm just telling you real life stuff, you know.
That's all that we want. It's not,
Yeah.
because you're on so many podcasts. We don't want to sit here and ask you just everything about your business.
That's usually what people ask me about.
See, and now you're getting to tell stories. We want to know Charles and whatever you want to give us. So.
I mean, the thing is, like I was telling you earlier, I mean, I give everybody a chance, they want to learn this business, I'll do as much as I can to help them.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that no matter what you do, you can't help everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
You got me going with mimosas, so.
Right, round two.
Yeah, so we're drinking mimosas.
What was your perception of real estate when you were younger? Was it something that was so far off to where you were like, only rich people own houses? What was it like?
I was one of those guys. I wasn't a dumb kid. I was actually pretty smart, but I grew up in what I call Violentville, USA. I say it a lot. And I was always fighting, saying I didn't like gangs. I got caught up. You know what I mean by getting caught up, but I wasn't a gang member. And so it was. I was living in a world where my actions could be very similar to that activity, but I wasn't part of that activity. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Having said that, I was the kid that would be watching that shit at night. Like, the dudes bought real estate, and I was like, man, I know there's more to this, to it. And the fact is, I just thought that most minorities rented. I thought that. And I was like, man, I mean, it's hard to own a home. And here's the thing, I think that still happens today. So if you look at a lot of minorities, and I don't know how we segue into this, but I'm just throwing out my perspective, is I think a lot of minorities today who are growing up in barrios or the hood don't believe that they can actually own a property, or that there's more to it beyond that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the issue today, especially with, a lot of the stuff that goes on social media. And look, I tell my people, look, you see me on social media talking about business, but you see other people on social media, showing their cars, showing this. And that. Bro, you don't understand. A lot of these folks are flying to fucking Cancun on points. Goddamn, you know what I'm saying?
Right?
They got the hookup. It ain't all money, you know what I'm saying?
The most succcessful people are in debt.
They got the credit hack. They got this. Yeah. I said, just because you see 2 minutes of video, or you see somebody taking a photo by the water, it doesn't mean that life is perfect. Because I've traveled, and hell, I've taken a picture with my wife, and we're happy as hell. And then we took another picture. We're like, ready to smile for the camera. And we're mad as fuck, you know what I'm saying? So it's just perceptions. But the thing is, when it comes to the question of real estate, I did think that it was harder for minorities to own properties when I was young. And so I segued into that world, and I was really good at it, and making money. And then when I had to write myself, and it was a long path, and I started to see, I segued into the real estate because I used to watch those shows, and I was like, man, I'm going to learn this. And I actually ended up in mortgages first, and then I segued into real estate. And then I saw how easy it was, and I was like, wow. Can I tell you a story?
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you guys a story, and this is how simple it gets.
Okay.
Because I wasn't a dumb kid. I was actually really smart. I was afraid to ask, because everybody's talking about college. What is 3 credits? What is 3 hours? I was afraid to ask that question. And I think because I was afraid to ask that question, I'm not gonna say that was all that, because I was a product of my environment. It just led me down a different road, because I knew how to make money over here. And then when I finally, got in trouble, and I woke up and I got to make a change, I finally asked that question. It's like, it's the same thing. Like, what? Yeah, 3 credits is 3 hours. The same thing. And a light bulb went on in my head. I was like, wow. And to this day, I still tell everybody, man, if you don't know, just ask. Yeah. That's the problem with minorities, Hispanics and blacks. That's our problem. We don't want to ask. We're too afraid that people are going to judge us.
And then that ego.
The ego, we want to be hard. Man, it's not about that, man. You know what it's about? It's about finding out information, how to get to the next level. You know, just ask a question and you're going to find out a lot of times you were wrong, or it was as simple as just ding, you know, and that leads you that leads you to reaching your goals. I mean, like me personally, who would have thought that a dude who was looking at life, let's put it that way, who came from, you know, my best friend got shot in front of me at 8 years old from that world, from losing everything in 2008. Who would have thought that I would own a whole bunch of properties, you know, own HPHS, do education, have people reach out to me from all over the country, teach them what I do. You know, it's just crazy. It's a crazy journey. So.
And I know you're huge on education and mentoring, but what type of education and mentoring have you taken throughout your real estate career?
Hard knocks. Like, I tell
trial
people,
and error, huh?
I tell people this: you can learn any business 2 ways. You can learn it the hard way, right? Or you can find the right people who already have success. I'm not trying to plug myself. You can find anybody, but here's the thing: like Michael and I spent years, and looking back now, I was like, wow, man, we spent a lot of time. You start talking about 2012, 2013. I was like, God damn, that's a long time ago. I mean, we spent years, and for the first, I think 5.5 years, up until 2016, maybe 17, we worked almost 7 days a week.
Oh, wow.
From morning to evening, every day except Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, and every once in a while.
Wow.
And you learn a lot of stuff. And if we would have just asked someone, but see, the problem is in 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and even 17, around 17 it started to change. There wasn't anybody you could really ask unless you were willing to drop 30, 40 G's.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? For a simple question. Nobody wanted to tell you how wholesaling or the contract or the assignment or how do you sub to, nobody wanted to say it. So we had to reverse engineer all that stuff. Today, it's as simple. Sometimes people call me, hey, Charles, how do I do this? I'll just do it like that. Boom. You see? And my thing is, you get with someone that's been around, that actually does the business. And if either you pay that person to teach you, right, and make sure that they've had some other success stories, or bring some type of value. What I mean by that is don't call me with an address and be like, hey, can you look up this address? Bro, I got
like you have nothing else to do.
Like, you know, now you bring a deal like, hey man, my mom referred me to this lady. Her mom just died. They have a property. Like that's okay. That's whoa. That's opportunity.
Yes.
Let's get together, get in the office, and see how we can make some money.
Yeah.
And now you learn by watching. You learn by listening. Yeah. So. You just got to get in the room with the right people, you know, and you get in the room with the right people, and you've been in the room with some really good guys. I know that you learn quick. Yep.
The quickest way to learn is doing it, but you know you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Mimicking success is, I feel like, the best way to do it.
You know, the other day I told a story. It's a real famous story. A lot of people talk about this because somebody actually called me, and they were like, "Man, Charles, I mean, I get it, man, but." I mean, I just have a question to ask you. Can you show me? Yeah, but that question you want to ask me, it's actually going to take like a good part of my day and then a few more days. Yeah. I'm willing to do that deal with you, but I say we JV it. So now I'm working for my time. We're both going to make money. Like I feel like we're gonna make money together. But if I have to stop everything I'm doing to just give you the answer, that's not worth it to me. Let me give you an example. This is a real famous story. I know you're gonna know it. It's about an engineer who was called to come look at an engine for a ship. You heard it?
Yep.
And the owner of the ship had a lot of people come in. They couldn't fix the ship. And this guy came in. He says, "I'll fix it." And this is my fee. And he walked over with a little ping hammer. The shit turned on. Yeah. And the guy said, "Man, I'm not going to pay you all this money just for a few seconds of work." He said, "You're not paying me for a few seconds of work. You're paying me for all the years that it took me to learn where to ping that engine." And that's how I see things, man, brother. I love you, man, but you can't waste my time. Before I used to always just, but I feel like I got maybe 8 good years left in this business. The reason I feel that is because, let's face it, I'm getting older. I'm still spunky, I'm still,
full of energy.
I'm still quick, I've met some 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds like tired as fuck. I'm like, bro, like I'm chubby, man, and I'm still going. You know what I'm saying? You gotta snap out of it. But here's the thing, I feel like I got maybe like 6-8 years more that I'm like I'm gonna be pretty quick on my feet. And I just don't have much time to lose with people anymore. So in the last year or two, I think the last 2 years, I've been more quick to tell people like, hey man, either let's go or get out of the way, man.
All right, are we doing this or not?
yeah. I'm not as patient as I was.
You're more intentional with your time now. So.
Very, yeah.
That's great. That saves you time, and then they're still getting value. They just have to equally match your value.
Well, we only get 365 days out of the year, and I believe if you do the math, think about that. If you multiply, let's just say 10 years more in my life, you multiply it by 365. You really put that into perspective. How much more time do you have?
Not much. You can count it.
Not much, and that's the big guy that lets me stay here this long. So you gotta go.
That. Well, what do you think is going to be your game plan for the next 6 to 8 years?
Man, I'm glad you asked me this question. This is the first time I ever talked about this live. So I have, Michael's my partner. We still do a lot of real estate together, but we're starting to endeavor into other stuff. He just opened up a really nice restaurant, and then we're fixing to open up a data skipping company. We've been working on that for a long time. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm working on opening up a really good PPC company. We've been setting all that up. I'm looking more to start building other companies that work in our business. I already know the business. I just know what we need in the business. And because we have access to a lot of these folks, we're segueing that way. Now, one of the things that I'm really proud of, and I'm thinking about launching, I'm going to launch it, is I have years and years of video of me teaching. This is the first time I've ever announced this, but I think I'm gonna do it. I'm not thinking about it. It's gonna be Uncle C or UC University.
Oh, I love that.
I'm gonna put Uncle Charles University. I'm gonna put all my educational stuff into a massive platform, and I'm going to give people lifetime access to it. Wow! It's going to not be free.
Wow. That was my next question.
But it's going to be about everything that I've done.
All exit strategies, all failures and successes.
How to get the deals, how to find the data, how to source, deploy the data, how to put the deals together, all that stuff. And I think that's I see that as my exit. Yeah. And leaving that behind, and I think I don't know. I think people would buy into it. I mean, people want to know. A lot of people call me. They want to know about this business, and I think that's actually where I'm segueing to. So
you're setting up a retirement plan for you to get cash flow just from your experience. That's the benefits of documenting your journey.
UC University, guys. UC University. Let me
We're going to be on the lookout for it now.
And here's the thing. You can purchase a webinar from somebody who just drove up, and that's cool. Or you can purchase a vault of wealth of knowledge, and have that and just tap into it anytime you want. So that's what I'm working on.
That's what's next.
Yeah, it's coming.
I'm excited. That's gonna get you out the game and leave your legacy.
I don't know. I mean, I still always probably do some real estate, but let's face it, we at some point you start slowing down, and the light bulb kind of went off. I was like, man, I got a lot of data, what do I do with all that data? And that's probably that's gonna be my parting thing.
So whenever new investors or new wholesalers come to you, what are the type of questions that they ask regarding getting into real estate or how to start?
I mean, look, everybody wants it. Everybody wants this business, like any business. Like, you remember you had all the NFT guys, all the gurus, you had all the fucking crypto guys, and the shit went to hell where they're at now, right? You had all the big time. Think about it. Look at social media right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not casting stones, motherfuckers. A lot of you guys are my friends, but let's face it. Where are they at now? I mean, they ain't talking shit about wholesaling because the shit got hard.
Yeah.
It got real. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of folks have jumped into this business. Let's just say in 19, 20, 21, it was easy. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody making money, talking shit. You know, oh man, I'm over here. You know, everybody just talking big. But when it got real, where's everybody at?
Yeah, real quiet.
Where you at? You know what I'm saying? Now, so I've been through that shit. You know, I've been through the big crash and smaller recessions. The thing is, you got to be able to survive that stuff. And what I tell people is this. I tell you this, like right now, we've lost quite a few guys in my office. And that's always a blow to your psyche. It's always a blow to like, man, you know, it's a blow to the whole team when you lose people. Yeah. But here's the deal. Did you lose them because what you do doesn't make sense? Because Mike and me still closing deals. Yeah. Or did you lose them because life caught them? And I tell this all the time. I say this all the time. This dude's here and says, man, don't let life catch you. You got to come in here every single day on full tilt. What does that mean? If you don't understand what full tilt is, this. You get here, let's say 8:30. From 8:30 to 9:15, you're doing your follow-ups, man. You're calling all your JVs. Then you're doing an hour of follow-ups. Then you're hitting the list. You're calling your people. You know, at some point you graduate from doing lists to doing networking. Okay. I mean, you got to be on full tilt all the time. But you come in here and you're bullshitting, you know, you're joking, you're making calls, you're relaxing, you know. You guys, so I mean, let me tell you something. You can't get it done like that. I mean, when me and Michael used to, for like the first 5 years, this is what we would do. We'll get the list. We'll create a list. We'll go knock on doors. At the same time we're knocking on doors, we're driving for dollars. We carry our information. Sometimes we'd go knock on somebody's door that we just found that was living down the street. On Saturday nights, we're putting banner signs on. None of this new wave stuff. That's what we were doing. When we come in, he's doing some title work, I'm calling people. Either I'm doing some title work, he's calling people. Every day, full tilt. You see, like Mike and I can walk away from this business right now and be like, hey man, let's out, let's just sell everything, and I probably won't ever have to work. And the reason I work so hard right now because he's not ready, and I'm not ready. We still want more. You know, we want to make sure that if we walk away, we're not gonna have to jump back in. Does that make sense? Yep. And what I tell people is this: when they come to me, they want to learn. Everybody wants to learn, bro. And I'm gonna share a few things with you. I tell them, look, man, if you ain't willing to accept DFND, and they always forget. Do you know what it is? They forget. I don't forget. That's discouragement, frustration, negativity, and disappointment. If you don't make those your friends, guess what, man? You ain't gonna make it because they're gonna come after you every day. They're gonna be on you every day. They're gonna claw themselves into your neck right here when you walk out. You know what I'm saying? When you leave this office, and you're like, man, I didn't get shit done, and then it's 2 months later, and you still ain't got a deal, and you're feeling that thing. You know what I'm talking about? You know why? It's not because the shit don't work. It's not because the deals ain't there. It's because you ain't taking care of business. It's always your fault. Let me tell you something. If I don't make money, it's my fault all the time, every single time, because you didn't do something to make it happen. Because if you don't understand that you got to be on full tilt every single day until you accomplish what you want to accomplish, then you're going to lose because life's going to come. If you got kids, guess what's going to happen? You got to buy the Pampers, you got to buy the milk, you got to pay you got to take mama out, right? If you single, you know, you got to take the girl out, you know, stuff like that. You know, you know, you're watching people on Instagram, man, I want to do that. You know, how do you do those things? Okay, how do you get there? You go there because you gotta be 100% focused on what you're doing and trust the process. You know, the people that I see have the hardest time with this business are those who just can't wrap their mind around this ain't a job, man. This ain't a job. If you want a job, you need to go find a job, get paid get paid by the hour, get a check every week. This ain't a job, man. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity to learn something that you can take anywhere in the United States and do. there's an opportunity for you to change your life.
Yeah.
And if you let life catch you, let me tell you, you know what the saddest thing is?
What's that?
I've seen people, and I love all my people.
Mm-hmm.
I love them all. I tell them I'll help you, man, but I can't give you the bag, bro.
Yeah.
See, this ain't trick or treat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see them go hard, man, hard, and they're there, and they start kind of, and I see them get beat down. You know, it's coming for them. The FND is coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and they're there. They're so close, and I hear them. They're good. They're on the phone. They're taking care of business. They're so close. Man, I gotta get a job.
No, so they give up before they even see the results.
It's like, damn, dude, you're right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people that are watching this podcast right now. I want to tell you something. You have to be self-aware. If you have charisma and you got good looks, you're going to do well quickly by just networking. Just learn a little bit about the business, you'll do well. If you're an introvert and you don't have looks, like me, you got to know more than everybody else. You got to work harder than everybody else because you got to know your shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, you got introverts and extroverts. If you're an extrovert and you already have a social network, you're gonna do pretty well because you can tap into those people. If you're an introvert, you don't have nobody, or you just moved to the city, you don't know nobody, then you have to go build that network.
Mm-hmm. You
have to be willing to talk to people. You're probably gonna have to work harder to learn the information because nobody likes you. Because why? Because we live in a society where, you know, for example, like me, like I know what people see when they see me. You want me to tell you what I think they see?
What's that?
They say like that motherfucker probably fought at the Alamo. He was cooking and shit. He was the cook. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's probably what they see. But when I start boom, 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 they're like, oh, they want to talk. And I get it. I understand. I'm not mad about it. Let's just do some business, you know. And so that's what I tell folks. Don't catch yourself slipping because you'll wake up 2 months from now, 6 months from now, and you'll be like, man, I got to go back to work.
So what's it like? You mentioned that people would come in for a month or two and work, and before they even get their first check, they quit. So
no, I mean, most of the people that have come into my office usually stay like anywhere from 8 to 2 years. You know,
oh wow,
that's been the average. So we've had people. They make money. There's very few times that I've had somebody come in and they're out. They're out because they can't. Like I'm real like, you know, like they probably can't deal with me. They're like, oh, this motherfucker's crazy. You know, but it's not that they can't do deals. It's just that, you know, you got to be on full tilt all the time. You know, the shit will sneak up for you. You got, man, I got 5 deals in the pipeline. That's not enough. Bro, you got 5 deals in the pipeline and you know that the closing ratio is 60%. Shit, you're looking at 2 deals. And what if some shit pops up as title? You got to go all the time. You got to build your pipeline, man. And if you don't understand that, like I got some really good dudes. Sometimes they might have 1 deal in the pipe, and I'm like, bro, you can't count on that deal, man. I mean, we had a deal the other day. I personally drove to Giddings, Texas, to the sheriff's department to find a dude that lives like 30 minutes inland. Well, I couldn't go there, right? Because, you know, people that live inland in, you know, the boondocks, I mean, they don't know. They'll shoot you. Dude comes out, and we ready to close a deal. They just want to verify the POA. He's like, I ain't verifying that shit. He said, I want my money. So I got to call the other folks up like, look, this dude wants his money, man. and so we're working on that, right? And then the dude that was trying to get the deal closed in the first place, he's calling the title company up, but what about this Medicaid? That was 9 years ago. It's actually, and then so now we're talking about going to a different title company. And so what I'm trying to tell the acquisition agency, see, it's never done till it's done, man. Yep. And that's why you have to be continuously pushing, man. You got to be pushing all the time. You can't relax. It's business. If you relax, it'll catch you.
What do you usually implement in those first couple of months of someone's journey starting with your company?
I mean, here's the thing. You know, most people, I don't hire anybody no more. Frank hires everybody, you know. And lately he hasn't. We've had a lot of people come to the office. He hasn't hired anybody. Got it. We lost quite a few folks. You know, we have. I think our team right now is probably about 14. When I used to run more like a 30 man team. Definitely. But we've been scaling it down. And then in the last 4 months, I think we probably lost like 6 people, you know. And so that hurt because I'm okay with running a team of about 20 because everybody does different stuff. when we bring in people initially, Frank does all the talking to them. He's our CEO. I'm real cool with them, and I'll talk to them a little bit, but I don't spend a lot of time with folks anymore unless I see they're committed. Yeah. If they're coming in late, if they're leaving early, like I ain't gonna spend my time with them. I only want to spend my time with people that are, I got a dude in the office. I got a dude in the office right now. He's real good, and he coming in every day. I told him the other day, I want you to get your license. I'll pay half. Like I'm gonna do stuff for people. I'm gonna do stuff for people who I see are putting in the time.
Have you heard this analogy? If you sit in your broke down car on the side of the road, no one to stop by and help you. But if you get out of that broke down car and you push it, it's going to attract people to help you.
Hell yeah. Goddamn.
Same thing. People only want to help you if they see you're helping yourself. You got to show up for yourself first.
And I got some really good dudes in the office, and I'll do anything for them as long as they're willing to bring it. I'm gonna do it. The one thing I tell them is I can't give you the bag. Everybody wants the bag. Yeah. You got to be willing to get it. But once you learn how to get it, then you'll need me less and less.
Yeah. I agree with that. I know that the market has shifted from a seller's market, which kind of spoiled a lot of homeowners. What's been your shift or your experience with it turning into a buyer's market now? Is it working better for wholesaling, or how have you guys pivoted?
Well, we happen to have some really good tools that we use. We actually have access to a tool called InvestorLive, which is a really good tool, and we're lucky to have them as the platinum sponsors for our wholesaling live event. I really like that system. It tracks millions of people when it comes to wholesaling, and what we saw is in quarter one, quarter two, the government, the news were talking about a downturn, and we saw a small little shift in the second quarter of last year. Not much, but in the third quarter, man, it was crazy. Like, for example, I think in the first quarter, Florida had like 24,000 average sales. And then Texas had like 19 or something. And then it barely shifted. But the third quarter, it went all the way down to like 6,000. And Texas went out to 4,500. That's a big difference. That's why a lot of people have jumped out. Now, here at HBHS, like we have a big office, we have a lot of systems. So our nut every single month is expensive. But I think what we've learned is how to weather that storm. You have to learn how to adapt. You have to learn how to change. It's not just wholesaling. So October got hard. November, December, man, we took it right on the chin. Like, we took it hard. We own a lot of properties, and about a third of them didn't pay. Like, we had like 38 people that didn't pay. And who's got to pay those mortgages? The mortgages are like $1,600 a pop. So you understand, that hurts. And in the first part of January, we're trying to make that shift, and I see it easing up here in late part of January this month. Things have gotten a little bit relaxed, and people are starting to settle down. The sellers, i.e. owners, are starting to realize, bro. I mean, it usually takes about 6 months to realize this. Bro, you can't sell properties like you were selling them last year. The market has shifted. You should have sold that shit last year.
Right?
I'm saying, when I called you. And the buyers now are starting to pull the trigger now because now the people that are still in the business are getting the deals at the price points that they need, so they're starting to buy again. So it's starting to relax a little bit from what I can see. I think we'll take another dip. I think what we're going to see is we'll probably take another dip. But here's the thing: if the market crashes, what are you going to shift to? If the market crashes for us and we like, man, this thing crashed, I'm going to change the subject twos. Straight up, credit financing. I'm going to create paper. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm taking over this note for $1,500. Can you pay this $1,500? Boom. I want to just put properties away. And that's what we're going to do. And then I'll leave everybody with this last thought right here. If worse came to worse, like, man, this whole economy is crashing, Then what I would do is I would shut my office down. I'd get a smaller office. I would keep the individuals who are pushing with me. I would concentrate on the deals we could do. And that's what I would do. Worst case to worst. When the market shifts, you have to shift with it. You can't continue to do everything you were doing because you're going to get caught up. Wholesaling is a good way to make money, but the last 3 months it hurt a lot of people. And so, but it's starting to loosen up.
I'm glad. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on our show for episode 1. This is Charles Hernandez of HBHS, Uncle Charles. And I'm Ayla Melendez, aka Real Estate, the host of the Chronicles REI edition. And thank you so much for tuning in.